Today, I have launched Maptitude, and the Quick Start is displayed. This Quick Start facilitates fast and easy map creation, as well as access of maps that have already been created. I'm going to use this Quick Start to open a map from the Map Librarian. And after selecting this option, I will click OK. Maptitude opens the Map Librarian, which is comprised of several different categories, and within each category, there are a set of maps. I would like to create or open a zip code map, and so I'm going to choose zip code, economic, and housing profile. And within those categories, I would like to create a map of the income by household. After selecting these options and clicking OK, Maptitude prompts me for a location that I would like to use for this map, and I do want to create a map of the entire United States. So I'm going to choose world country and type in USA. So Maptitude creates this map for me and zooms me to see the entire United States. I'll just enlarge this map so that you can more readily see it. In addition to the income by household, I would also like to include some of the business location data that is available for Maptitude. And I will add that by locating the Map Layers icon at the top of the Maptitude window, and then clicking the Add Layer button. Browsing to the directory where my Maptitude data are saved, and then using the business location data that I have downloaded. The data that I want to use are located in the retail folder, and my specific area of interest at this time are locations for IKEA stores. So having selected that layer, I will click Open and then close Map Layers. Maptitude redraws my map. Those locations are hidden by default, auto-scaled off actually. So if I right-click on the layer itself and select Show Layer, Maptitude draws those locations for me. So within Maptitude itself, I'm ready to create my layout. I will do this by navigating to the Tools menu at the top of the Maptitude screen, then choosing Reports, and then New Layout. By default, Maptitude opens this layout up in a portrait orientation. This can easily be changed, and I will change this by clicking on the Settings or Properties button. I would like to change the size. First of all, this is set to letter by default. I would like a really big layout, so I am going to first adjust my printer, and I'm going to make this a PDF instead. So you can use whatever PDF driver you have. The Microsoft Print to PDF is common across almost all Windows installations. And I'm then going to choose my page size, and I will choose the B5 and make that landscape. So when I click OK, Maptitude adjusts this for me. I think I'm going to change printers here while I'm at it, and I will just use the Adobe PDF. I really do want to use the Arch E instead. So that's a much bigger page size. Now that I have this layout created, it is ready to have a map added into it. I'm going to add that map using the Add Map / Data View in Layout tool at the bottom of the Maptitude window. And I will click and drag a rectangle on this sheet of paper where I want my map to appear. So once I have selected this area, drawn my map, that is added in. So as I look at my main map, before I start adding other items, I am thinking that I want to replace this because I don't have any locations in Alaska. I really want to be able to focus on the continental US a little bit more. So I'm going to click on my main map and use the Zoom In tool to draw a rectangle around the portion of the US that I really want to see. And I also want to reduce some of the other noise on this map. I don't need to see Canada and Mexico. I don't need to see the water. So I can turn those layers off in the Display Manager by clicking the green check to turn that in to a red X. And that greatly simplifies my map. So I think that this is a lot better. So now that I have made adjustments to this map, I'll go back to the layout by clicking on it. And I can replace the map in that layout by right-clicking on the map with the pointer tool and selecting Replace. So I'll choose my map here. I'm going to also use actual point sizes. Since this is a big printout, this will allow my font sizes to be exactly what Maptitude has specified in that map window. So this is much, much nicer. So now that I have made adjustments to this map, I can continue refining it, moving items around by clicking on them with the pointer tool. But more importantly, I would like to add some insets for areas that are important to the work that I'm doing. So I know that Los Angeles and New York are areas that I really want to see in greater detail. I can begin the process of adding these additional items by double-clicking on the map in my layout. This makes a copy of the map. So I now have two maps that are the same. And I really want to focus on this New York area, particularly where Long Island is, so that I can see some of these locations in a little bit more detail. So initially I zoomed in too much, and I'm just going to try and adjust that a little bit. So I can now see these locations. I also see a bunch of the highways, which is really helpful in most cases, but it's kind of detracting me from being able to see where these IKEA locations are. So I might just turn that layer off in order to better get a sense of the data. So now that I have zoomed in and turned the layer off, I will go to the window menu and choose my layout. And I can now use that same Place Map / Data View in Layout tool to create another map, this time the new one that I selected, with my data from Long Island. I also can remove that legend if I want, if I don't want to have multiple legends, simply by clicking on it with the pointer tool and clicking the Delete key on my keyboard. Since I also want to use the LA area, I'm going to double click on the Long Island map. This is my third map now. And I'm going to move to the Los Angeles area. I am going to use that Find tool so that I don't have to zoom and pan around a lot. So I can now see the LA area. make adjustments to what I'm looking at as desired. And then go back to my layout where I can add in this third map. So I'm going to use my Place Map / Data View and Layout tool again, draw my box, and choose my map number 3. So I now have my 3 different maps. And I want to check these insets to make sure they're kind of the same size. So I will do this by clicking on one of them. I'm just going to choose the Long Island map, kind of sitting it on top of LA, just so I can get an idea of how they are related to one another in size for the inset itself. Then I'll just move back that map, and I'm going to switch around the positions here. Got a little bit out of order. So now I have resized these insets so they're the same approximate size. And I want them to be aligned with one another so that this looks a little bit nicer. And I'll do that by clicking on the map whose location I like the best. So I actually think I want the top to be here. And I will shift click on the second map. I can then align these maps to one another by using the Align Top button in Maptitude. That align them across the top. And I also have the option to align across. And this will distribute those maps a little bit more across the page. So in this case, what has happened is those 2 maps ended up right next to each other. So I can now take that group and center it on the page so that it looks really nice, and I can continue adding information on either side. I can enlarge any other maps here by clicking and dragging the shape handles on the map window. Maptitude is redrawing this map until the size of the map is more appropriate for the message that I am trying to convey. We can easily add text to a layout using the freehand text tool at the bottom of the Maptitude window. After activating that tool and moving my mouse to the location where I want to enter text, I will click and enter the text that I want to use. So I think I'm going to call this Okay, so once I have added that text, I can make adjustments to the font face, the size, the color, anything that I want to customize. Clicking Apply applies those changes and customizations to that text. Clicking OK applies the changes and closes the dialog. So I have my title here that I want to center. I will use my pointer tool to click on that text and then simply use the Center on Page tool to center it with everything else. Also just going to do that quickly with my map. It was off a little bit. If I wanted to add any additional text, I can do so by using that freehand text tool. So I may want to include text for the tri-state area. And then text for Los Angeles. That way my map viewers know what they are looking at. And I can even just duplicate this so I don't have to worry about getting sizes wrong. And then I can edit the text. Finally, I will make these text items aligned with one another using that Align Top tool again, so that I have a nice presentation.